I gave up everything for my son, his first steps, his first words. None of it was easy, but when he stood up at his wedding and thanked someone else, I had to fight my rage. What happened in that moment? It was betrayal in its purest form, and I knew then, nothing would ever be the same again. My name's Aaron Winters, I'm 43, just a regular guy, living in Richmond, Virginia. I work as a mechanic, fixing up everything from classic cars to engines in the newest models. It's the kind of job you don't think about until your car breaks down on the side of the road. My mornings are always the same. I wake up to the hum of my old coffee maker, the smell of bitter brew filling the kitchen. My son, Leo, used to be the first thing on my mind. That kid had me wrapped around his little finger from day one, and I mean that literally. He was the reason I worked so hard. I never wanted him to feel the same struggle I did. But there was always something missing. His mother, Emily, left when Leo was just 2 years old. I'd been there every step of the way, doing my best to be both parents. Watching him grow up, I thought maybe, just maybe, I was doing all right. But little did I know, the day would come when all my sacrifices, everything I'd done, wouldn't be enough. It all started when I found out Leo had been talking to her behind my back. His mother, Emily, had reappeared. I hadn't heard from her in over a decade. To say I was pissed would be an understatement. I don't know what I expected when I first saw her name pop up on my phone, but I wasn't prepared for what happened after. It started innocent enough. Just wanted to see how Leo's doing. I should have known better. She wasn't interested in checking on him. She just wanted to make sure I wasn't in the way of her perfect life. Then came the news. Leo had been meeting with her in secret, and worse, she started to play the role of the mom she never was. I remember the first time I confronted Leo about it. "Why didn't you tell me, son?" I asked, my voice quiet, trying not to let the anger seep through. He shrugged. "I didn't think you'd understand, Dad." Understand? I had sacrificed everything for him, every day. I worked my ass off to put food on the table, to give him the life I never had. And she just waltzed back into his life as if nothing ever happened. The more I found out, the angrier I became. But the real kicker? It was still happening behind my back, and I didn't know. It was only a matter of time before it would all come to a head. It happened on the day of Leo's wedding, a day that should have been about us, father and son. But when Leo stood up to give his speech, I could feel my heart drop into my stomach. "Thank you to my mother," he began. The words sliced through me like a razor. I thought I misheard him. "Thank you to my mother, for always being there when I needed you." I remember the moment clearly. The blood drained from my face. The entire room went silent. My own flesh and blood thanked the woman who abandoned us without a second thought. I stayed seated, my fists clenched so tight my knuckles turned white. I was humiliated, betrayed in front of everyone we knew. All those years, those sleepless nights, those long hours at the shop, all for what? For him to stand there and pretend like I didn't exist? I stood up, but I couldn't speak. The rage, the heartbreak, it was too much. It hit me like a freight train. In that moment, I wasn't just hurt, I was furious. I had a choice to make. I could blow up, I could confront Leo right then and there, but I knew better. I'd raised him, I knew what he needed to see, so I stayed quiet. I left the room before anyone could notice the rage in my eyes. I had been a patient man, a forgiving man, but in that moment, I realized I was done being the one who always gave. I wasn't going to let them walk all over me any longer. I needed to reclaim my dignity. Later that night, I confronted Leo in private. My voice was calm, but my words were sharp. "You think I was just a substitute for your mother? That everything I've done means nothing?" His face crumpled as he realized the weight of what he'd done, but I wasn't about to let him off easy, not after everything. After that night, everything changed. I don't know if he fully understood the damage he had done, but Leo wasn't the same. He avoided me. His mother? She'd gotten what she wanted. The texts started coming in from her. "What did you do? You've ruined everything." She tried to guilt trip me into apologizing, but I stayed silent. I didn't owe her an apology. The calls came in, frantic, Leo begging for my forgiveness, but it was too late. It wasn't about forgiveness anymore, it was about respect, and he had lost that. I stayed composed. I didn't need to explain myself anymore. The silence was louder than any words I could have said. Then, a few weeks later, Leo called. He asked me to meet him. I thought it was going to be another apology, but it wasn't. This time, he was standing on the other side of the courtroom. I was blindsided. The will had been read, and Leo had left everything, to his mother, in front of everyone. I watched her smile. The room echoed with her smugness as she walked out with Leo beside her. But then, the twist, the lawyer handed me an envelope. It was from Leo. He had left me one thing, something that made every sacrifice worth it, the deed to the house we'd built together, the place I'd promised Leo would always be home, my revenge. It wasn't in words, it was in action. I had one. Months passed. Leo and his mother's lives crumbled. They had no idea what was coming. She'd already burned her bridges, and Leo had to watch as his world fell apart. But me? I didn't need to fight anymore. I had nothing to prove. I sat back and let life unfold. The truth was, the hardest part wasn't the betrayal. It was realizing that sometimes, you have to let people go in order to keep your peace. Now, every day, I wake up and I don't feel that rage. I just feel calm. The world has a way of righting itself when you stop trying to force things. You don't have to fight to prove your worth. Sometimes, standing still and letting them show their true colors is enough. If you've ever been betrayed, or had to walk away from someone you loved, drop a comment, let me know what you've learned along the way, and don't forget to hit that like button if you've ever found peace through pain. Until next time, remember, you're stronger than you think.